Yeah, what's up, everybody? It is go time. It is Sunday night. Let's see. I got to get you guys a screen to look at here. Here we go. It's Sunday night. It is time for All Things Fantasy Grounds Talk Show. We do this every Sunday at 6 p.m. There is a person missing, and that person is not Leroon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing good. Fury is feeling under the weather, everybody, so she will not be with us this evening. Before we get started, we'll of course always make our disclaimer for the show, which is that All Things Fantasy Grounds Talk Show is meant to teach and help, but the opinions stated by Leroon and by me are not that of Fantasy Grounds or Smiteworks LLC, USA, CBS, NBC, CBS, Netflix. None of those are part of what we do. Tonight's subject is proper combat etiquette and maybe a little more expansive than that. So let's just dive right in. This is gonna be awesome.
All right.
So actually, let's go back to the notes here. We have some notes that we want to try to get to. So we got a Fantasy Grounds table open, and we will go through things as we see fit.
I love you, man.
Hey, Lady Shell, thanks for the sub, Lady Shell. She's so awesome. And then if you guys have questions, just let us know. But the main Leroon kind of, I think many months ago, long time ago even, came up with the idea of doing this.
I love you, man.
So that hey, Ev Maker, thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate that. We decided that we would want to do a show that kind of helped mostly players to help their DMs in Fantasy Grounds, because the best thing you can do as a player is make your DM's life easier. And so this is a bunch of information that sort of touches on all that. So let's get right into it. Leroon and I went over this yesterday, so we're going to see what we came up with. Okay, so this says targeting, target, untarget, multiple targets, targeting icons for faster play. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So let's see. Leroon is connected to the table, and he is doing something now that you're not supposed to do, but we're going to talk about that later. He is moving when it's not his turn to move. So I'm glad he did that, because how do you fix that? How do you fix that, Leroon? If you've made a movement and your DM says take your movement away, what do you do?
I just pick my token up and wiggle it, and that usually takes it away.
Right. All you have to do is pick the token up and drop it back where it was, and then it'll get rid of the movement. And a lot of times players make movements, and they don't think they can erase it. They're like, oh, sorry about that. And you tell them erase it, and they go, oh, what? I can't erase it. And then they try to move it. They try to go down here and move it all over the place like this. So yeah, all you have to do is pick up the token and drop it back down, and it'll take the movement away. But we're talking about targeting. So I'm gonna put my mouse right here on example Druid, and then I'm gonna have Leroon do some work so we can see how this goes. So targeting, you can do it a couple ways. You can do it in the combat tracker, but best practice is to do it actually on the map. So Leroon, if you would target one of the monsters and then explain how you're doing that, and then the people will see it on my screen when you do it.
Okay, so I'm looking at the proper NPC number 1, which is to the northwest corner. And what I'm going to do is hold my left control key, and then I click on it, and it'll come up in the combat tracker. It'll show targets, proper NPC, under the character I'm controlling. And when I mouse over, it actually shows me the distance between the two.
Right, and when you did that, the targeting line showed up on my screen, so everybody saw that. Now, you would untarget by just doing the reverse, right? You would hold control, click the monster, and it would take the targeting thing away. So go ahead and do that, and there you go. And then it also disappears in the combat tracker, in the combat tracker. So that's targeting and untargeting. Now, sometimes players and DMs should always see some, where you see the mouse moving up here, they should always see some information. If that information isn't there, The reason is the DM needs to unlock the map. So let me do that. I'll unlock this map.
Okay.
And now you're going to see, if the player doesn't see it, the DM may have to reshare the map with them. And the
I see
DM
it.
will see 9 buttons up here, and the player will see 5. The player's only going to see the 5 on the right. This other stuff is for shading, and we're not going to get into all that. So now, everybody who has these controls up here can do some special things. So, like for example, let's go with the one on the right, which is a pair of goggles, I believe, and it says target enemy units. So if you hit that, let's see what happens. Yeah, so he's targeting all of them now. And then if you hit the one that has the red line through it, and the name of that is clear targets, let's see what happens there. Boom.
Bam.
So that is a quick way, everybody. If you're doing fireball or something that affects everybody, that is a quick way you can target and untarget. And let's just real quick do this one. The one that's the flag is target friendly units. So if he hits that, it's just going to target his other party member. And then again, you can clear the targets there. So now, one thing I like to remind players and even DMs that don't know is, let's say you're going to do something to 3 of these monsters. Or even 4 of them. Let's say you're going to target 4 of them, but not 1. To me, it's easier, instead of targeting 1, 2, 3, 4 monsters, just target all of them and then untarget the one you're not going to choose, right? It's a faster, it just depends on the math. And it's not as good of an example with 5 tokens as it would be if there were 20. Right. But can you imagine, like, oh, I'm going to draw my fireball circle and I only get 17 of these out of 20. So I'm going to click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 17 times. No, just click all of them and remove the 3 that aren't in it. That's the easier way to do it.
Yeah, so whatever the lesser is. Right,
and this is a way that you can speed up the game by not spending a half hour targeting all the crap that you need to do. Let's see. Targeting, untargeting, multiple targets, targeting icons for faster play. Okay, I think that covers it all. Did I miss anything on the targeting?
I like the one you showed me about the mass movement that the DMs can do, or was it the...
Oh, that's in movement, though. We'll do that when we do movement. The other thing, too, is that you can, in the combat tracker, you can, like if I'm the example druid here, and I'm holding control, I can target by just clicking in the combat tracker these 2, so then they'll show up there, and the same thing, you can unclick it. So you can do that in the combat tracker, but best practice is to do it, I think, on the map, because in the combat tracker, like I just did it, I just hit a button I didn't mean to. I unidentified all the monsters, so I didn't mean to do it. So it's just easier to do it on the map. All right. And Leroon, I'm assuming you're watching for questions.
Yes, I am. Back and forth.
All right, so let's go to movement. Moving through other players, walls, janky movement, token placement, ending in a square, know your speed. Path plotting, do not move. Okay, we might want to go through these one at a time. So actually, in tonight's show, we're not really talking about rule-based things. We might touch on it, but the purpose isn't to talk about the rules. It's to talk about how to operate Fantasy Grounds to make the game go faster and to make your DM's life easier. So moving through other players, we know you can do that. But yeah, so you see he's moving through the thing, but let's say that he wanted to move through the dinosaur and then in the dinosaur square, I'm calling it a dinosaur, it's a giant vulture, and then take a right. Why couldn't you do that? Why couldn't you move 2 up and then 2 over? Why couldn't you do that, Leroon?
Because I'll end up in an occupied square.
Right, and what happens when you do that?
It's basically a no-go. The tokens will stack, and it's hard to select the token.
Right. So go ahead and move up 2, and no, don't do that. Stop doing that. Go ahead and move up 2 and then right 2, and I'll show people what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, up to and right. Hello, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay,
I'm
move example druid up 2 squares and then to the right 2 squares. I want to show people what happens when you do this.
okay.
Okay, now you would think that that looks right,
Nope.
but it's not, because what happens is when I approve this move and then I approve the other move, it's the other token. As a matter of fact, I can't even approve it. Yeah, so suffice to say that just really fucks up tokens. So the lesson that we're trying to impart here in this particular example is never ever move your token on top of another token, because then you won't be able to move either one of them and the DM has to go and fix it. So even if you're drawing, like say you tell the DM, I'm going to move up 2 and over 2, but you would draw the path to where your destination is, even though that's a no-no, because you're supposed to draw your path where you're going. But you would just discuss with your DM, hey, I'm going to move up 2 and over 2, which is 20 feet, and then I'm going to end up there. And just make sure you discuss it with your DM, because again, if you move into this square and then you move over, see how it moved? I moved the wrong token, so it just gets all messed up. So I hope everybody understands what's going on there, and I'm sure most of you that have played have had this happen. You're like, ah, shit, whatever, gotta fix it. Okay, so walls is a thing. We don't have any walls on this map, but let's say this tree was a wall. Proper etiquette is not to do this.
Yeah.
If that was a wall and not a tree, you would say, because you can't go through a wall, so you would, instead of doing that, you would say go here and then like that. So you do want to draw your path so that the DM doesn't have to tell you, hey, can your character go incorporeal and walk through walls? No, you can't. So that's just a little note about that. Oh, okay, so janky movement. Now, you don't have to call it janky movement. That's what we do in my games, and I've heard it called that in a lot of different games. But if you're the player and you say, okay, I'm going to move now, and you go like that, if I'm the DM, I'm on that shit. I'm going to approve that move right away, and then you're going to be like, oh, wait, I wasn't done. But there was no way for me to know, right? So what you do is, if you're gonna draw a path that isn't one straight line, just yell out to your DM, say, hey, I'm gonna, janky movement, or I'm gonna move weird, so that the DM knows to wait till you're finished, and then you can do, whatever your weirdness, whatever your super odd movement is, or whatever, and then go, okay, I'm done now, and then he'll approve it, or she, and then that prevents quick DMs from jumping on your movement before you're finished with it. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's just a little tip.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So token placement ending in a square. What do we mean by that? So if you're a medium-sized character, or your token is 1 square, like these two are, why don't you move one of those Leroon correctly and the other one incorrectly, and then we'll look at the difference.
So we're talking about where you're ending up, right?
Yeah. So move one like
right.
you should, and move one like you shouldn't. Right. Okay.
Okay.
So you see that his movement is in the center of a square. So when I move the token, it ends up within a square. But here he's got it on a line. So if I move him, he's between 2 squares. And even worse would be if you did this. And now which of these 4 squares are you in, right? So you always want to make sure when you're drawing your movement line, wherever you draw it, wherever it goes, just make sure that the dot or the end of the line is in the center of a square. Now, if you are a large creature, or larger than large, you want to do the same thing corresponding to the rules of where you land in the square. So for a creature that takes 4 squares like these monsters, you actually do want to end your movement on an intersection. So like, for example, I'll end the movement right in the intersection of these 4 squares. When I move it, then he's still in 4 squares. Whereas if you're large and you do what you do when you're medium and you move it to the center of the square, that's not going to work, because now you're in these 9 squares. Which squares are you in? So you really want to keep, focus and point on that. there may be some situations where you're playing a game and you purposely want to go between two squares because, not everything is perfect for Fantasy Grounds, and sometimes, either Wizard of the Coast or whatever module you're using, they draw a 5-foot door and it's in the center of two squares, so the door is actually splitting the squares. So you might put your token there and go, I'm just going to the door, and that might be fine, and the DM will go, okay, I get what you're doing. But for combat purposes and for range and for, adjacency and everything else that you do with combat, you definitely want to have your tokens be in a square. And if you don't, you'll hear your DM most often say, which square are you in, so that you can... And it'd be that same way if you were playing on the kitchen table and you had a map out with a grid on it, you would still need to know what square you're in. So that's what that's about. Let's see. Oh, know your speed. So when you're playing Fantasy Grounds, or when you're playing any role-playing game, you should know what your speed is. And that might seem really obvious to a lot of you, but if you're playing a dwarf or a gnome or a halfling and your speed's 25, just don't forget that's the case, because most characters have a 30 speed, and then if you're some kind of, druid or have an extra thing on your thing, you might have a 35 or 40 or whatever it is. But you got to know your speed, and you got to know your distance you can move. Because if you're a dwarf and you're moving 30 every turn, that's wrong, and you shouldn't be doing it. So that's just a courtesy thing for the other players and for your DM, is to know your speed. Path plotting we kind of touched on that, and then that's when I said, don't go through walls, or don't draw, like, I want to go from here to here, but I'm going through two trees. So if this was the actual map and those were actually tree stumps, your DM would say, are you hopping over those tree stumps? And then you'd go, oh, no, I'm sorry, I meant to go here, and then over here, and like that. So just keep in mind that, do draw. And the other thing about that is, you don't know if there's traps or pits or holes or invisible monsters. You don't know what's there. So you literally have to draw your path of movement, rather than I'm at point A and I want to go to point B. It's not all about A and B. It's about show me the way you get there. So just keep that in mind for all your games. By the way, everybody, we'll give away some prizes tonight, so don't forget about it. And then the last thing on the movement thing was, do not move when it's not your turn. And here's, a lot of people wouldn't think that would be a thing. Like, why would it make a difference? Because the DM isn't going to prove, like, if I'm drawing my move and that's just where I want to go my next turn. And why is that a problem? Well, it's a problem for a few reasons, and maybe even more than I can think of. But for example, when it's not your turn, the battlefield's going to change. So you might think, I'm going to go there, but now look, he's moved there on his turn. So now I'm not going to go there because that's where he's ending his turn. So you're just putting a fucking line out there that doesn't need to be there. The other thing is, if there's 6 players in a game and everybody on their turn, or when it's not their turn, is drawing their movements, and I'm looking at this, that's it. Game's over. I'm out. So please, just for the sake of the sanity of not only your DM but the other players playing with you, don't move when it's not your turn, because it just confuses everybody and it's just not necessary. You can draw lines on the map to plot distance or whatever if you want to do that. That's not something we're going to talk about. But if you're doing that, that's going to be distracting as well. So, no, I don't think there's going to be anybody who yells at you for not having your movement plotted out. Why weren't you ready to move? That's just, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's better to not do it than to do it. Okay, so let's see. Passing your turn. This is real easy. Passing your turn in the combat tracker. Unless you're controlling an NPC or something that you can't pass it. When your turn's over, just make sure right down here to hit the next actor. I think on the player side, what does it say? Pass turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next actor, if you're the DM, is what it says, but pass turn. And
Turn complete.
Turn complete. Okay. And the reason that's important is everybody's waiting for you to finish your turn, and the only way anybody knows that you're done with your turn is if you pass it. So just make sure when your turn's over that you reach over here to the combat tracker and hit turn complete, and it'll go to the next person. And that's just what everybody should be doing in all the Fantasy Grounds games to help everybody keep kind of moving the flow.
Yep.
This is more of a courtesy thing than a mechanics in Fantasy Grounds, but part of combat etiquette and part of game etiquette, even just playing D&D online with your friends or with a group of people, and perhaps even people that you don't know that well. And I keep saying D&D, but that's the default. You can be playing any RPG. Is to be present and pay attention. You know, it's only common courtesy that when your turn comes up, you're ready to go and that you know what's going on and that you don't have to go, wait, what's happening? I went to the other room. I went to go get a cup of coffee and I missed everything. I mean, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be allowed to get up and walk away from their keyboard and go to the bathroom or get a drink or whatever, but you need to be present for the game. You need to be paying attention. It's very discourteous to the other players and to the DM for you to not pay attention. So that's a huge issue with most tables that I've ran or played on. And if you are going to go away from the table, just simply say, hey, I'm going to be AFK. Reach up here, right-click your token, mark well, I guess I can't do it because I'm DM. But yeah, Leyrun, mark one of your guys AFK for me. And you right-click on your token and choose AFK, and they'll put a little time clock right there. And in the chat, it'll say, user has gone AFK. So if it comes to that person's turn, you'll know they're not there. You'd be like, oh, they're not here. Let's just skip them and go to the next turn or whatever. But you're not, hunting. You're not like, where is he? What happened to her? Did she pass out? What's going on? Where did he go? It's just common courtesy to let your other people, because it's not that you're playing at your house in the kitchen table. And if you stand up out of your chair and walk to the bathroom, that's pretty obvious. Everybody can see you going to the bathroom. But online, you don't know. So it's just common courtesy to pay attention and be present for the game. Mark AFK if you're gone and verbally announce that you'll be absent. That's part of it. Also, another thing, just show up on time. What I do with my players is if they're there on time and they're ready to go at the start of the game, that's when they get inspiration. If they're there. My players know better than to be late. Most of my players, if they're going to be late, they just don't show up because they know I'm going to fucking come down on them with the hammer. But I'm a little more hardcore about that kind of shit than I am other people. And that's just a personality, that's just part of me. That's part of Rob Toohey. I'm a hardcore Nazi about being on time. And, I don't want people to sign up for my games unless they can commit to, whatever it is, Fridays at 6. Like, be there. Don't fuck around. Now, if you're not there, I would like to know where I can come visit you. What hospital are you in? That's usually what I tell my players. And I get it, shit happens. I'm a single man with no kids, so I can't relate to the wives and the children and the families. And I get it, though. I get it that shit happens. But if you're not going to be at a game, you need to let your table know that you're not going to be there as soon as you know, like right away. It is not cool to drop out of a game 10 minutes before the game. And it's definitely not cool to be late. Now, other people are more lax about that, depending on how you were raised and where you grew up and where you live. All these different factors factor into that. But I've never been able personally to break away from the fact that if you're either late or don't give notice that you're not going to be there, that is nothing less than disrespectful to the entire team of people that you're playing with. I don't think anybody can argue with that. Some people might not care as much as I do, but you'll find that if you're that type of person, you will quickly not be invited back to any games if they know that you're going to not be showing up on time and also be there consistently. Let's give away a prize on that happy note of me yelling at the fucking world about being on time. So let's give away a prize. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to run a raffle in the chat. If you're watching this video on YouTube, first of all, thank you. I'm glad you are. But second of all, be there Sunday nights. Be live on Twitch and win prizes. You can't win a prize on YouTube. So, the keyword is going to be F-YouTube. And the prize is going to be any DM's Guild item that I have made or that is a collaboration with an author, but no packages. And sometimes I give away packages, but instead I'm going to give away no packages today, but I'm going to give away like 3 prizes. So let's start this, get this going. If you'd like to enter for that, please type in !FYouTube in the chat. And please do not enter if you do not want to win the prize. We used to be okay with it, but it just got to be so much bookkeeping. So please only enter if you want to win the prize. Don't enter so that you can win and then email, PM me 2 hours later and say, hey, I want to donate my prize to the next person or next week or, whatever, all that kind of stuff. You guys know. So yeah, please only enter if you would like to win. And we'll give that another minute or so. And meanwhile, we'll talk about the next tip. So hotkeys. Hotkeys are really cool. Let's show an example here. Most people, what they'll do is they like to especially hotkey their initiative. So I would grab my initiative here, the left click and hold, drag it down to a hotkey, and drop it right there. So there it is. So now the difference is if you want to roll initiative on your character sheet, if I click it, it doesn't do anything. I have to double click it. And if I double click, it rolls initiative. But on the hotkeys, it's different. You only have to single click. And so many times what will happen is you'll have a hotkey down here, and because you're used to it, you'll double click it. And then everybody playing on the table with you is going to yell at you because you just rolled initiative twice. And now the DM's going to say, well, we'll take your first one. Let me go change it to 16, and it's a giant pain in the ass. That also goes for anything else you hotkey. So, for example, if I hotkey my short sword attack, again, rolling it on the character sheet, I have to double click it. If I single click it, it doesn't do anything. But if I accidentally double click the hotkey, it's going to roll 2 attacks. So just be very mindful of hotkeys. They're really cool. They're really useful. But don't double click them. That's just what you want to remember.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
What happens if I shortcut my bow and arrow?
That's a good question. That might be later in the thing. Let me check. Well, if it is, we'll talk about it. Okay, so let's find out about that. What does happen? First of all, I think let's give away the prize, then we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Prize is going to be given away right now. The winner is, bam, Eraser Tex. Oh, Eraser hasn't won anything for a really long time. So congrats, Eraser. You know what to do. PM me in Discord, and you can take any product that is a Rob Toohey named product. Either, if it says Rob Toohey on it and it's on the DM's Guild, you can have it. Just no packages. Let me know which one you'd like in Discord, and I'll get that to you. Congrats to Eraser. And we'll probably do that twice more in the show. We'll give away 2 more things. So those of you that didn't win, or those of you that didn't type in, you can get in on the next one. Okay, so let's put a, I don't think either one of these, let's put a...
Cheerbits in the stream.
Cheerbits!
Thanks for the cheerbits.
Lady Shell, showing some love. Thank you, lady. Let's put a crossbow on there, and we'll answer that question. I don't know why I'm singing the presidential theme that when he marches out. I don't know why. Crossbow.
While you're looking for that, I want to congratulate Lady Shell for being our FGC multimedia social media.
Yeah, congrats. I like it. She does a lot of tweets. I see them. Yeah. All right, so everybody knows that if you make an attack with a ranged weapon and you have ammo here, I'll double click that attack, and it ticks off an arrow. It ticks what, and if I do it again, it just keeps track of it. Now, if I drag this down to a hotkey, remember I only have to single click it. But look, it did not. Wait a minute. Yeah, it did not tick off an arrow. See, I keep attacking with this hotkey down here, and it's not keeping track of the ammo. So I either usually my practice is I do not hotkey ranged weapons. I actually go to the actions tab, find the weapon, and attack from there so that the ammo's kept straight. I only hotkey melee weapons down here, or
Right.
spells or whatever. But yeah, so I'm glad you asked that, because that is a thing to keep in mind about that.
Okay.
Let's see. Applying and removing your own effects. So this is something that maybe people aren't doing or possibly don't even know about. But if you're a player, you can help your DM by applying your own effects. Now, you don't want to do this without your DM's knowledge, but DMs should be able to say to players, please apply blind to yourself. Please apply prone to yourself, whatever the case might be. And of course, up here in the upper right, there's a symbol that I'm circling around here, the little zombie man. That's the effects thing. And as a player, you can put any of these effects on yourself. So let me give you an example of when this might take place. It's probably rare and wouldn't happen that often, but it would really speed things up. Because imagine a party of 6 players who are going to take a long rest. And the DM says, okay, you know, player number 1, you're on watch, and the other 5 players are asleep. So now the DM has to go apply prone and conscious to every player. Prone and unconscious. Prone and unconscious to 5 players. But players can do that themselves. So players can open this up just the same as the DM and drag over the effects and drop it on themselves. So just keep that in mind, because you can actually speed up, you know, the game and help your DM. I'm going to come back to that phrasing a lot, speeding up the game and helping your DM. Now, you, of course, would not want to do this without the DM's knowledge. So you'd want to work it out. Now, like if you watch our Friday night game, we've got it down pretty much. Like Joe does it and I do it. Joe's DMing the Friday nights now, and I DM most times. And all the players know that if there's going to be a rest or something, the DM will go, okay, everybody who's not on watch, apply prone and unconscious to yourself. Everybody does it to their individual character, and it's done. It takes 2 seconds instead of the DM having to take 30 seconds to go through and do everybody.
Question,
so that's
Rob.
Yeah.
Donan1 asks, can you, as a DM, shift click multiple targets, let's see, on the combat tracker and apply those quicker?
I don't know. No. Shift clicking.
Want me to reread it?
No. Yeah, no, you cannot do that. Because technically you could, but I would not recommend it, because this is what has to happen. I'm the example druid. I'm going to click all the enemies. Whoops. So now the druid has everybody targeted, but I think if you just hit prone, yeah, no. So this doesn't work the same way as the actions tab, like the Rob 2E Codings does. As the druid, if I had, let me just make it so I can show the example here. I think this is really not what the question was, but this is going to be what the answer is based on, like, you'll see what I'm saying here. So prone, and then the effect is prone. Okay, so you can apply it that way. You guys will have to kind of keep an eye on the combat tracker, so watch all the red ones. All the red ones are going to get prone now. So if the example druid targets all 5 and hits prone, it'll apply prone to all 5 of them. But the question was, can the DM do that? No, you cannot. Because using this, it applies it to the character in question. So if I hit prone, when that guy's highlighted, it's going to go there. If I have this guy highlighted, it's going to go there. So yeah, you can't, but you can't, there's no way to highlight more than one character like that in the combat tracker. So the answer is no, you can't do that. Now I got to go through and fix all these. That was a good question and a rather complicated answer, but the answer, I could have just said no, but then people wouldn't know why. So I had to explain
Why?
it. Why? Why not? All right. Why not? God damn it. So the other thing about applying and removing your own effects is, let's work with example druid. Leroon, would you please apply any effect to that you can?
To the druid?
To the druid, yeah, in the combat practice. Just put any effect on it. I don't care what it is.
Okay. Okay, let's see.
Let me clear those targets, by the way.
I have a prone effect.
Okay, wait 1 second. Let me get rid of those targets. Okay. All right, so go ahead and put any effect on your character. Okay, so you put prone there. Now I'm going to put on you incapacitated.
Okay.
All right. So now would you please remove prone?
Okay.
And now would you please remove incapacitated?
I cannot.
You cannot. So here's the deal about that, everybody. Any effects that you apply to your own character can be removed. Any that you don't apply have to be removed by the DM. So I have to remove that from him. Now let's check monsters. Apply any effect to proper NPC 4.
Okay.
All right, so you put prone on NPC 4. Now remove it. Yes! Yes! So that's a lot of power that players have. The reason you have the power to remove any effects from an NPC that you put on it is in case you do it by mistake. You don't have to even bother your DM. You can be like, oh, fuck, I didn't mean to put that there. And you can just take it off. So that's why that's available to you. But again, you'll be able to, where this comes into play, like say, for example, I'm playing a druid in a game, and I have a magic ring and a magic cape and a magic, all this fucking magic shit. And our rule in our game is that when I shift, I can't be wearing that stuff. So I apply all that stuff to myself, and then when I shift into a form, I go and I remove all those effects off myself in the combat tracker. I don't have to bother my DM with any of that. I can do it all myself. So it just really helps, facilitate less work for the DM, which is the less the DM has to do, the better the game is. That's just always true. Okay, we'll do one more and then we'll give away another prize. Let's see. Roll all checks and save in the tower unless the DM calls it in the open for your game, or if it's different for your table that you guys do. But if a DM ever asks you to roll a check or a save, you should always do that in the tower down here. And the reason for that is because it should be private. It should be like the DM rolling behind his screen on the kitchen table. No one should see it but them, and not even you. And if he says you can roll it in the open, then you can do that. And then just to show everybody who might not know, if you're rolling a strength check, you roll it in the tower. If you roll a strength check in the open, there's a difference. Yeah, so see where it says there's a little eye with a line through it? That means only I saw it, and if not, everybody sees it. So that's just what that's for. So that's just a courtesy thing. Unless your campaign or your gaming group decides all rolls are going to be in the open, you should always roll a personal saving throw or a personal abilities check, and skill checks, all skill checks as well, in the tower. So, hey, give me a perception check. Hey, Michelle, give me a history check. Whatever it is. So that's that. All right, let's give away another prize. Let's do it. Let's clear it out. And I'll give away another DM's Guild item. This time the keyword is going to be no roll 20. So exclamation NOROLL20. And I'll start a timer there. And if you guys would like to enter to win the prize, exclamation point no roll 20. And we will go to the next tip. Let's see, the next tip. Don't forget to mark off your spell slots or any other counters on your actions tab. Ammo is done automatically.
Oh, yeah.
Hotkey ammo is not done automatically. Okay, we already covered the hotkey. But what that's talking about is if you're a spellcaster like this character here, just make sure that whenever you cast a spell, when you cast the spell, if I cast Healing Word, it does not mark the spell off because it doesn't know what level you cast it at. So you would say, oh, I'm going to cast that at 3rd level. And just as a side note, we've covered this many times before, but if you're casting Healing Word at 3rd level, you can left click and hold and drag it over. You'll see 1 die there. If I'm casting it at 3rd level, I'm going to right click. I'm going to add a dice, add another dice. The plural of die is dice. The single is die. So, and then I'm going to throw that in there. And so that was a 3rd level, so I'm going to mark off a 3rd level over there like that. So just keep, and then what happens is there's only level 1 spells here, so I'm gonna clear all of them off. Oh no, my bad. Never mind. I was gonna say something, but I was wrong. So forget I said that. Forget the last 5 seconds. But anyway, yeah. And then sometimes you will see like if you have a wand that has 7 charges on it, there'll be 7 little tick marks there, or whatever it might be. Just make sure that you're properly keeping track of all your wild shape. You're going to get 2 of those per rest. Once you click them, it's going to take wild shape off your sheet. Arcane recovery for wizards, you're going to click the little tick mark and it's going to go away. And so you're not tempted to use it until you get it back. Second wind, or what's the other one where you get an extra turn? I forget. Fighters get
Action Surge.
Action Surge. So there'll be a tick mark for that. You'll click it, it'll go away. So just make sure in keeping track of all of your things. Just it's better for the game, and so that nobody cheating. No, I mean, I know players don't intentionally, but sometimes you forget, and even you won't know unless you keep track. Okay, did we give away the prize? What happened? Let's find out. Let's win. Here it is. The winner is Boffrin, again, every week.
No way.
So, Boffrin, you know what to do. I don't have to tell you. You know what the deal is. A hotkey replacement on level up. Okay, this is pretty important. So, let's just say I am Example Druid. Example Druid is AFK. Let's say I'm Example Druid here. And I have my short sword. 1d6 plus 1. I'm going to key that damage down there.
Okay.
Now, I go and level up and short sword,
score.
It's Dex, isn't it? I'm going to just change it to Dex.
Yep. Or yeah, Dex.
Okay, yeah, right. So I go and I level up and I get to level 8 or something, and I'm going to make my Dex 14 now. Awesome. So now my short sword is 1d6 plus 2. Now, I'm going to continue to use my hotkey, but here's the problem. If I roll this 1d6 plus 2, you see there's the plus 2, but if I use the hotkey, the hotkey's still only plus 1. So when any of your, whether it's leveling up or getting an ability score increase or whatever the hell it is, anytime these numbers change, anything, if your initiative changes, whatever it is, let's say my initiative, let's say my initiative change, whatever it is, these hotkeys that you have here do not dynamically change. So you literally have to right-click it, delete it, and then bring it down and replace it again. So just always remember that, because I remember the first time I discovered that, I'm like, what the fuck? Why is that a +1? It says +2, and we could not figure it out. We did not know what was wrong. My DM was like, yeah, you're right. It does say +2. What the hell? That is super weird. And we just didn't know that your hotkeys don't dynamically update. That's just how we figured it out. One of the other players goes, maybe you have to replace the hotkey. And I was like, no, that's dumb. That wouldn't be like that, would it? And I did it, and it worked. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay, that's how you do it. So, yeah, that was a whole accident that we even found out how to do that.
Is there any effects or potions or anything that are temporary that might also affect that? Such as initiative or attack rolls or anything like that? So in other words, if you expend a charge on a magic item and it's temporary, that's not going to reflect in that shortcut.
I'm not exactly sure. You kind of lost me there. I'm not really sure what your question is.
Okay, if you drank a potion that gives you +1 on initiative, let's say.
Yeah.
That's not going to work for the hotkey.
Why not? I mean, first of all, before you even continue on this line of questioning, I think a best practice would be to never hotkey anything that's temporary. If it's temporary, why are you hotKeying it? Right? You're only going to use it once, so forget it. Just do it. Hotkeys are for shit that you're going to use over and over and over and over.
Like your initiative, if I drag it now and put it to the hotkeys, and at some point I get a potion in the game, and it temporarily raises it, that shortcut's not going to do anything.
No, but if you get a potion that raises your initiative, that's going to go in the combat tracker. So exactly. it'll be coded there, so you won't need to do anything. The hotkey will still be fine. All right. What? Okay. Level up properly within the box. This is a big thing. This not only does it make your life better, it makes the DM's life not a nightmare if you don't screw it up. So when you level your character, come to the front of the sheet, find your character and level, click the character or click this magnifying glass right here, and then here's where you're going to level up. So this guy's a multi-class Druid and Ranger. So if he's going to level in Druid, he's going to grab this right here, bring it down, drop it, level up in Druid. If he's going to level up in Ranger, he's going to grab this right here, bring it down, drop it, level up in Ranger. If you're going to level up in another class, then you go and you open up, the classes and get that Sorcerer and bring it in and drop it like that. And you're going to choose Draconic Bloodline. So the reason that you want to do it in this box and not come and grab the class out, like the thing not to do is go grab Druid here and bring it in like that. The reason you don't do that, in this case we'd be fine because it's only the player's handbook. But if you mix classes from different sources, like if you have open Xanathar's Guide, Sword Coast Handbook, Volo's, and all these other different sources, and you start mixing and matching your classes, you are going to jack your character sheet up, and your DM is going to just come to your house and murder you, and that's how it's going to be. So the best practice is obviously come open this up and do it all in this box. The only time you should ever not be dragging a class down here is if you're bringing a brand new class in. Now this guy's a Druid, Ranger, Sorcerer. He probably doesn't even qualify. So that's just how that goes. Helping the DM by applying your own effects. Oh, we already covered that. All right, well. Next level XP. So this is something that you can do. Probably your DM would help you with this, but I wonder. I'm just gonna nerf all this and see if it's just this character sheet's gonna be screwed up. But this guy, let's just say this guy's level 1. He has 0 XP. Your next level 2, is 300.
Yep.
And Fantasy Grounds, although there's allegedly an extension either existing or on its way that will do this automatically, typically Fantasy Grounds does not do this automatically. It does not auto update the next level for experience. So you the player or the DM would have to go in and put this in here. So now let's say that, this guy gets to 400 experience points and he's a sorcerer. So he's going to level up and go to level 2. So now he's level 2, and you go and you say, well, level 3 is 900. So you have to actually change that to 900. So you'd level up, let's say he got to 1200. Well, now he's going to go to level 3, and then level 4 is 2700. So you put that in there like that. So just keep in mind that you have to manually enter that. This will typically not be something you ever touch. It'll be automatically done when the DM distributes experience points from the party sheet. This number on the left under XP will always be given to you automatically. This is the one that you have to change manually. So don't make the mistake of going, 2700, and then go here and type 2700. Well, you just jack the whole game if you do that. So don't do that. All right, 2 more and we'll give away a prize. Oh, Leroon, your favorite. Unequipping the shield. So always remember, many people get this wrong. Many D&D players either just don't know or they forget. You cannot have a shield equipped if you're fighting with a two-handed weapon. Melee or ranged, you cannot use a shield with a two-handed weapon. So always remember that if you switch to a two-handed weapon and you have a shield, to go to your inventory, find your shield. That guy doesn't have a shield.
None of them do.
Damn it. All right, let me put a shield in there. All right. So this guy has a shield. Give this guy one too, just for the hell of it. So if you're, say you have a battle axe or a versatile weapon, and you're using a shield and you're swinging it one-handed, and then you say, I'm going to use two-handed now. You got to come over to your shield, and you got to change it from equipped to either carried, or if you're dropping it, nothing. You drop it on the ground. And then that will, of course, that'll change your AC by -2. And you just need to always remember to do that. And let's see. Oh, and along with that, this is kind of a rule thing as opposed to a etiquette thing. But people need to remember, D&D players especially, and again we're talking about D&D 5e. We're not talking about Savage Worlds or anything else at this point. But D&D players need to remember that donning and doffing a shield is an action. So if you say, I'm going to take off my shield, and then I'm going to attack two-handed, well, what's going to happen is you're going to take off your shield, and you're going to attack two-handed next turn. You cannot do that. Many players abuse this. They think that you can just drop your shield as a free action. You can drop a weapon as a free action, but the rules clearly state that you cannot drop your shield. You have to take off your shield using your action. Now, I listened to a podcast with Jeremy Crawford, and he explained why this is. It's a balance thing. If you were able just to drop your shield and then attack with a two-handed weapon, that is way too fucking powerful. So you need to, if you decide you're going to switch to two-handed, you need to spend a turn getting rid of your shield. If you then want to put your shield back on, that is also a turn, or an action, rather. Now, let me ask a little trivia question. I think it'll be obvious by the way I ask it, but if you have multi-attack, can you take off your shield and just do one attack?
No.
No, you cannot. Because the attack action gives you to multi-attack is because you're using one action. And if you take your shield off, you've already used your actions. You get no attacks. So just keep that in mind. Shield bash is another thing. There's very specific wording in D&D about rules. And again, we're not really trying to talk about rules, but since it's kind of on the subject, so shield bashing is something that you can do. I think, you know what, we should look that up. Who does that? The fighter, the barbarian?
Yeah, shield mastery is another feat.
Oh, it's a feat. It's a feat. Right. So let's look at these words. It says if you take the attack action on your turn, you can use a bonus action to try and shove a creature. Now, a lot of players will say, well, I'm going to shove him and then attack. You can't do that because it says if you take the attack action. And D&D is never, ever what you plan to do. It's what you've done. So if you have not used the attacks action, you may not shove anybody. You have to attack first and then shove. And there's a lot of things in D&D that say, so-and-so you've got to do immediately after you do this. Some things don't say that. So then you could, do whatever this thing is and then move and then do the thing. But no, whatever this, and I can't remember what the example is, but there's a few, the word immediately pops up and stuff. So you really have to read these carefully and try and follow it. And they believe me, they play tested this. They fucking went over and around and around with like 500,000 people play testing this shit. And it's all based on balance. Now, I did notice, I think it was Alex typed in the chat something about homebrew or house rules. Now, of course, you can house rule anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
Any DM or any group can house rule anything they want. But just keep in mind, if you house rule stuff, I'll give you some examples, some popular examples. Drinking a potion as a bonus action instead of an action. Dropping your shield as a free action instead of an action. These types of house rules, you can do that. You're perfectly fine to do that, but just realize that you're no longer playing D&D 5th edition. You're playing some other fucked up different hybrid of some jacked up game that is way unbalanced. So don't do it is my thing. My game's basically, now I'm not talking about optional rules now. I'm not talking about flanking or any of these other optional. Those are optional rules. I'm talking about house rules where you just all get together and say, you know what? Every third time I attack, it's a crit. Like some bullshit like that. I mean, people think they're not really fucking with the game, but drinking a potion as a bonus action or dropping your shield as a free action, those are super unbalanced, and you shouldn't just be doing that. Again, you can do whatever you want in your game. It's your game. But if you're trying to play the game as it was intended, then you shouldn't be house ruling anything. The only house rule I've ever had is no flying characters at first level. But that is not a D&D thing. That's a Fantasy Grounds thing. The reason I made that rule is in my Curse of Strahd campaign, I had a flying character. And I pay, we all pay a lot of money for these modules, and we all pay a lot of money for these maps. And we want to have really good times online. And, we shade the map, and then we reveal sections of it, and, right, we do all that. And this guy who had a flying character, every time they would get to any new location, he would just say right away, before anybody could say anything, he goes, I fly up in 50 feet in the air and reveal the whole map. And it just made me so fucking mad. And so I only did that. I only made that rule for Fantasy Grounds. But if I'm playing like at the kitchen table or anything like that, I don't have that rule. You can fly all you want. How come I don't remember how to to get rid of the map thing? I don't remember how to clear the. I don't remember. I haven't DM'd in a while. Let's see. Is this it? Yeah. There we go. Is this it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. All right. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is making sure that you have all versions of your weapon on your character sheet. So now, normally what you would have to do is, let's say you had 2 short swords, and one was regular and one was offhand. Normally what you'd have to do is you'd have to come to your inventory, you'd have to rename your short sword like offhand. And the reason you have to rename it is we're going to go get another short sword and drag it in there. But if you don't rename it, it just puts 2 short swords. So now that I've called it something different, I can go get a short sword and drag it over. Now I have short sword and I have short sword offhand, which means when I switch to my actions tab, I'll have two of them. One of them, and then I can rename the one offhand. Now, Leroon, tell me what I have to do to the damage of the offhand weapon.
The offhand weapon, you need to go in and edit the properties of that weapon first.
Right.
So you
So
open up the properties.
we open it
and
up
then
and what are we removing?
Okay, the offhand weapon, we're removing the base or whatever stat it's based on.
Modifier, yeah.
So that way they don't get a damage bonus.
Right. So this short sword is +4 to attack, 1d6 +2. The offhand is +4 to attack, 1d6, no +2. Now, that's what you would normally have to do with every weapon that you have multiples of. One, dagger, dagger offhand, rapier, rapier offhand, whatever it might be. Now, there is a cool extension, and we're going to go over this next week in detail, but just really quick, I'm going to show you. There is an extension. Let me erase the offhand weapon and come back over here and just make sure this is regular short sword. Put the dex back in there. I erased the wrong one is what happened. Okay. There is an extension called weapon handling, and you see, most of you are probably noticed by now these hands here. Like, what the fuck is that? I've never seen that before. So this is really cool. So here I have a short sword regular, 1d6 +2. Instead of having to add another short sword to my thing, I can just click on this hand. Now it's offhand. No +2. Go back. There you go. Now let's bring over battle axe. Okay, battle axe, one hand, two-handed. Look at that. And it gives the 1d10 back to one-handed, 1d8. So that's a really cool extension, and you don't have to fuck with adding weapons anymore. And again, that extension is called weapon handling, and which brings us to the end of the show, and we'll do some questions and everything. But just to let you know, next week's show we're going to talk about the roll for initiative extension and the weapon handling extension. So we'll go over those in detail next week. Oh my God, I get to highlight this. It's such a pleasure to turn this green. So yeah, so we're going to be talking about those next week. We asked the author, Stalker is the author of both of those extensions. We asked him to come on the show. He was very nice. He refused to come on the show, but his reason was that his English isn't very good. He's not his English is not his first language, and so he didn't feel that it would be good for him to come on the show. So he's not going to be here, but he wishes us luck to talk about it and everything. He said that's fine. So let's give away the last prize here. Let's do it.
Last bro.
Let's have the keyword be last one. We'll start the timer for 2 minutes. If you guys want to get a last-ditch effort to enter it and try to win, it's exclamation last one. And if you guys have questions, please type those in the chat as well. And just as a reminder, we do the show every week. The questions that you ask do not have to be necessarily related to what we talked about tonight. You can ask questions about Fantasy Grounds, about anything if you like, because that's what Leroon and I are here to help you guys out. And Lady Shell, the prize is going to be any DM's Guild item that has my name on it that is not a package. So there's about 100 things you can pick from. It's too much work to try to find out something that I don't already. Drake, that's funny. You gotta look at the list and go, nope, got it, have it, got it, bought it, got it, have it. Oh, what about this one?
We need to update your module organizer to include everything now.
Well, my module organizer only includes titles that are
know.
my titles. If I put everything in there, oh my God, it would be a nightmare. But I did do the packages. I did the 2017. Let's look at that. Let's just go look at that, shall we?
Yeah, Ev Maker, there's a module organizer for Rob's stuff. Where
Yes,
can
there
we
is.
find that?
You can find that on the Fantasy Grounds forums or on my Discord channel.
Okay.
Here is the collaboration I put up yesterday. It is the Rob Tui Fantasy Grounds Collaboration Package 2017. What that means is all the stuff I did in 2017 with other authors, of which those people are Andrew Kaywood, Jeff C. Stevens, M.T. Black, Patrick E. Pullen, Phil Beckwith, Richie Root, and Tony Petrecka. And I'm waiting to hear back from one person, Alex Klippinger, and then I will do the 2018 package, which is way bigger. It's got like a lot of shit. This one has 16 things in it.
Cool.
The other one has, I don't even know what the count is, probably like 25 or something. I can't remember. But anyway, that's a package, so you can't win that today. But you can buy it. And
hey, Entertainment here.
Those are 60% off. So everything in here added up is like $72. You can get it for $29. And the other one's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of $100, but it's like $280 worth of stuff. So it's going to be crazy.
Grimatainment.
Hey, what's up, Grim? Grim, a maker of fine D&D items as well. And let's see, what was I doing? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, okay. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. And let's see, do we get a winner? Okay, here we go. Let's find out. Who is it? Yeah, Ev Maker, new guy.
Yeah.
Ev Maker, congrats on the prize. I will tell you what you can do to claim that. First of all, this is a little joke we do. Whenever we see this red symbol here, that means you are not following the channel. So we say to you, boo, boo, hit the follow button, boo. But you still win. You don't have to, you still win anyway. So what you can do, Ev Maker, you're probably not a member of my Discord, so I'm going to give you a link in the chat right now. And yeah, Ev Maker has followed. Thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream, Ev Maker. So go to that link, go to that Discord link, and then what you want to do is send me a private message in my Discord and say, hey, Rob, Ev Maker here. I won a prize on the show tonight. And search my name, which I will spell for you since you're new. This is how you spell my name, Rob Tui. Search for that on the DM Guild. And then let me know what you would like to have, and then give me your DM's Guild email. Now I realize I'm throwing a lot of instructions at you. All you really have to do is just PM me in Discord, and then I'll give you the list of how to claim your prize. I got a whole system, so don't worry about it. Just PM me. That's easy. Okay. Were there any questions, Darun? I wasn't looking.
I do have one question, and it was asked by Lady Shell earlier. Since it's the end of the show and we're not talking about the combat thing, are you going to somehow be involved with the conversion of the new module?
M Fontana 3, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Which new module?
The one that was announced from WotC, the thing you showed me today. The Salt Marsh.
I'm gonna say no. And the reason not that I wouldn't want to, it's just that Zacchaeus does all those.
Right. That's what I thought.
And I've done 2 WotC modules, but they were both PDFs, not hardbacks that were on the DM's Guild. The Lost Laboratory of Quailish and the Eberron guide. So, and those kind of came out and were surprises, and they weren't scheduled ahead of time. And so Doug kind of came to me and said, hey, do you want to do these? And I said, yeah, I'll do them, because they were sort of not planned in advance. And, normally Zacchaeus has 3 or 4 months to get these done, and they kind of threw that one out and went, oh no. So I was happy to do those. If Zacchaeus ever retires, maybe I'll do it. I don't know. But yeah, as far as I know, I won't have anything to do with those. It's possible, but very unlikely, because that's his thing, is he's doing those. Unless they say they're going to be, putting out like 4 at a time, they might come to me and say, would you want to do one? Then I would, because I would absolutely do it, because those sell a lot of copies. They sell. I mean, of course, Wizards of the Coast. That's going to sell the most copies, right? All right. What else? What are we doing? What's happening? What's going on? Did we check off the show? Yeah, we did. We highlighted it. We said we're going to be doing RFI and weapon handling extensions next week. Hopefully, we'll have Fury back next week. She's under the weather today, everybody. If you came in late, Fury was feeling not well today, so she wasn't able to do the show. Okay. Anything else, Leroy? Did we have any other questions?
Diablo Bob was wondering about, this is kind of back to the combat related stuff, about Blooming Blade, Green Flame Blade, those sort of things. So multi-attack attack spell, which isn't usually a question, but more or less he thought he'd point it out since it's etiquette based and very common.
I'm not sure. Could you? That was a lot of words, and I didn't get a question.
Let's see. Ask again.
Yeah, Bob, ask the question again. And multi-attack attack spells issue really isn't a question, but I figured I would just point it out since it's etiquette based. I don't. Yeah, but what's the question?
I don't know.
Let's see. Hopefully he'll type it in. You can use an attack spell as part of a multi-attack. Oh, you can't use an attack spell as part of a multi-attack. No, you can't. So in other words, you can't you can't hit once with your and then do magic missile. No, you can't do that. Yeah, no. I don't know anybody that thinks you can do that. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You might stretch and think, oh, maybe can I do that? But let's see. Let me go to fighter. And let's read multi-attack. Where the hell is it? Oh, it's called extra attack. You can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action. So that I don't know why people would be confused by this, but you get one action per turn, and that action allows you 2 attacks. It does not allow you 1 attack action and a spell action. You can't do that. It's kind of the same thing as if you cast a bonus action spell, you can then not cast also a regular action spell. You can't cast 2 spells in one turn unless one of those spells is a cantrip that has 1 action as its thing. So yeah, D&D is very exception based, which is nice. I like it. He was just commenting. Oh well. I've ran into several people that think you can cast it because the spell says make a melee attack. Yeah, but no, you can't.
Exploiting.
Yeah, they're just misinterpreting. I mean, I can see how you would logically jump to that. Oh, well, I have an extra attack, but you do not have an extra action. That's the problem. So, any of those people that say that, Bob, just tell them this. No, you fucking can't do that, and go ask Rob Toohey why. Just tell them that.
Watch the show.
Yeah, and then they'll say, Rob Toohey, who the fuck is that? I don't give a shit about what he says. Which is what I would say if I wasn't me. Fuck that guy. All right, let's see. Anything else? Do we have anything else? Let's look at some slides.
Nope.
Oh, Battle Royale, everybody. February 30th, which is March 2nd. Sign up for Battle Royale. Play. It's fun. And next week, we're going to do this show again. Tomorrow, I'm going to do Module Creation Monday. Or as my friend Ida calls it, Monster Management Monday. Because she doesn't know what the hell's going on. Wednesday's pickup games, everybody. Anybody that's listening right now, anybody that's here listening in the Twitch chat, or if you're watching this on YouTube later, you can come play on Wednesdays, 5e pickup games. It's just like pickup basketball, only it's D&D. You show up, you don't even need a character, nothing. Everything's all ready. Just come and play. Leroy, any final words from you, sir? Oh, we did an hour and 15 tonight. That's good.
No, I just wanted to let the community know that I thank them for participating and promoting the show. and I really enjoy doing these, even though I get yelled at once in a while.
Who's yelling at you? What kind of asshole would ever yell at you? Was there one thing that you wanted to say, or did you say it? I think before the show started, you go, "Oh, I gotta remember to say this," and I don't remember if you did or not.
I
know
don't
what it is.
remember.
Yeah, I don't know. We probably said it because it was probably. I think it was something to do with what we were talking about. All right. If you guys weren't able to ask your questions, or if you think of something later, you're always welcome to drop by the Discord, and come and talk to us over there. And also, don't forget, if you're new especially, I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. Fantasy Grounds College has a website and a Discord, so go and check that out as well. Leroon is in charge of running that, and they have classes and seminars and free activities over there to learn how to use the software and stuff like that. Alex says she dislikes Battle Royale, but I can't make it on Wednesdays for pickup games. Well, you're fucking shit out of luck then, I guess.
Yeah.
I hate this and I can't come to that. Well, that's a shame. But you love introductions, Alex. I know you do. So what else? I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. So let me do the end of stream announcements. How about I'll do that? First of all, Sunday nights I usually don't do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to give out end of stream rewards, which is Rob Tui Chat Economy, which we did a show about, so you can go watch that. So here it is. There it is. 100 gold pieces for everybody in the chat. Also, there's all the links that you guys can do to participate. Hashtag SOL. I put the links in the chat. You can type exclamation in any of those words, and that'll lead you to our Discord channel or to my Patreon page. FGC has a Patreon as well, so you should check that out. That's on their website. My Patreon, I have levels for as little as $1. You can cheer bits. You can subscribe to the channel. You can donate to the channel if you wish.
Cheer bits stream. Thanks for the cheer bits.
Cheer 9/11. That's funny. I don't know why it's funny. It is. Thank you, Drake. Also, you guys can go to the DMs Guild, and some of you probably were while we were giving away prizes. You can peruse the items I have for sale over there. Today's sales, let's check. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 items. And 2019, the average is about 18 a day, so I think we'll probably hit that by 9 o'clock.
Cool.
And then you can follow me on Twitter and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So thanks, everybody, for watching. Hope to see you back here next week. Come on by tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific if you want to watch me make a module. Come on Wednesday if you want to play then. Come on Friday if you want to watch us all die in the Mad Mage. Sign up for Saturday if you want to do some PvP action. And right back here on Sunday. And that's how we do it.
Yeah.
So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I don't know. I'm off a little bit. I think I'm a few months off. So, have a good night, everyone. And on behalf of Leroon and myself, good gaming, everyone.